All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're talking about a mindset, a way of thinking that really separates the people who master a skill from, well, everyone else who just quits. And here's the secret. It's not about being born with some special talent or just getting lucky. It's about a fundamental shift in your focus, away from the trophy at the end and onto the journey itself. I mean, we've all been there, haven't we? You decide you're going to learn the guitar or get in the best shape of your life, or maybe launch that side hustle. For the first few days, you're on fire. You've got all this energy, all this passion. But then what happens? That fire starts to flicker, and before you know it, it's completely out. Why does this keep happening? Well, here's the thing. The problem, the real reason we give up on our best intentions, isn't that we lack motivation or desire. Nope. It's that we are completely, totally obsessed with the end result. We're so busy staring at the finish line that the actual path to get there becomes super fragile. It's ready to just crumble the second things get a little tough. And this obsession leads us right into something I like to call the quitter's trap. It's this painful, predictable cycle that's fueled entirely by a mind that only cares about getting to the destination. I bet this timeline looks pretty familiar. It always starts with that massive burst of enthusiasm on day one. Then, maybe a week in, you hit your first real wall of frustration. Things get hard. After that, the quick wins you got at the beginning start to slow way down. And by day 30, poof, the motivation is just gone. And that's when we tell ourselves that old story, I guess this just isn't for me. So, the big question is, how do we break free from this trap? Well, we need a whole new operating system for our brains. And this is where the hero of our story comes in, the practicing mindset. It's all about making this huge shift from trying to win to just wanting to learn. And this is the absolute core of it. The practicing mind finds its reward in the work, right here, right now. It doesn't need to wait for a gold medal or a finish line to feel like it's succeeding. The success is the process. It's the simple act of showing up every day and getting just a tiny bit better. It's about genuinely falling in love with the practice itself. Just look at the difference here. On one side, you have the result-focused mind. It's impatient, it's fragile, and it's terrified of failure because it sees it as a final judgment. But then you have the processed-focused mind. It's patient, it's resilient. It doesn't fear failure. It actually welcomes it as data, as feedback. One mindset is totally broken by setbacks, while the other, it actually gets stronger because of them. Okay, so understanding the mindset is a great first step. But how do we actually do it? How do we live this way? That's what this next part is all about, turning this idea into real, practical actions you can take every single day. First things first, we have to completely abandon this fantasy of overnight success. It just doesn't happen. Real mastery, the kind that lasts, isn't born from one giant heroic effort. It's built, brick by brick, from hundreds of tiny, consistent steps that you take day in and day out. And if you think that sounds slow, well, check this out. If you improve by just 1% every single day, the compounding effect is absolutely mind-blowing. At the end of a year, you're not 365% better. No way. You're nearly 37 times better than when you started. That right there is the insane power of small, consistent gains. But look, just showing up isn't quite enough. How you practice is everything. So first, you have to ditch the distractions. Create a space where you can actually focus. Second, remember, quality over quantity. One single hour of deep, focused work is worth more than 5 hours of just mindlessly going through the motions. And finally, and this is a big one, you have to slow down. Deliberate, careful practice builds a foundation that's so strong, your long-term progress will just blow past everyone else. This brings us to a really crucial point. You cannot rely on feeling motivated. Motivation it's a feeling. It's a fickle friend who shows up when it wants to and disappears without warning. Discipline, on the other hand, is a system. It's the engine you build that just runs whether you feel like it or not. And that's what will carry you forward when motivation inevitably takes a vacation. Okay, now we've got to talk about the hardest part of any journey, the plateau. You know what I'm talking about? That moment when you are putting in the work day after day, but you feel like you're just stuck, spinning your wheels, going absolutely nowhere. This right here, this is the moment most people quit. The visible progress just vanishes, and that little voice in your head starts whispering, "What's the point? This isn't even working." Doubt starts to creep in, and it really feels like all your hard work has been for nothing. So how do you push through? First, you have to trust the invisible growth.
Think of it like a bamboo plant. For years, nothing happens above ground, but underneath, it's building a massive root system. Your progress is happening, even when you can't see it. Second, get deliberate. Hunt down your weaknesses and attack them. Comfort is the enemy here. And finally, live by this rule. Never miss twice. Missing one day? That's an accident. It happens. Missing 2 in a row? That's the beginning of a new habit of quitting. You just have to stick with it, because the breakthrough is almost always waiting just past that point of maximum frustration.
And when you do push through that plateau, you find something incredible on the other side. The ultimate reward of this mindset isn't just getting good at something. It's this powerful, almost paradoxical kind of freedom. We have this idea that discipline is a prison, right? That it's all about restriction and rules. But that's the great secret. It's the exact opposite. Real freedom, the freedom from your own moods, from procrastination, from that nagging self-doubt, that freedom is only found through the structure that discipline provides. It's what gives you control over your own life. And this leads to the deepest change of all. Your actions literally forge your identity. You stop trying to be a writer or trying to be an athlete. You just are a writer. You are an athlete. Why? Because that's what you do every day. It stops being an effort and it just becomes who you are. And really, that's the ultimate payoff, isn't it? The goal was never really the goal. The real prize is the person you become through the process. The resilience you build, the self-trust you earn, the character you forge, that is a victory that no one can ever take away from you.
So I'll just leave you with this one thought. Every single day, with every small choice and every tiny action, you are literally building the person you're going to be tomorrow. The only question left is, who are you building?